Mike Owens with Inside Fighting, joined today by Mario Bautista, who's coming off one of the biggest wins of his career versus Patchy Mix at UFC 316. Mario, always a pleasure. How are your emotions after such a big victory?
I'm feeling good, you know. I'm happy with my performance. I'm happy the way it went down. It's getting a little weird now, you know, a little bit more excuses coming out, a little bit of uh I didn't get the interview. So weird things like that are starting to come out. But overall, with the performance, I'm super happy.
When you say excuses, is that from Patchy's team? I haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, Patchy's team and people are saying, "Oh man, he didn't look like how he usually does. This isn't Patchy, we know this and that." And at the same time, I'm thinking like, yeah, I made him look like that. Like, dude's only good at one part of his game, and I stayed away from that whole area. What do you guys expect, you know? So, yeah, it's just dealing with all that.
Respectfully, there's always a narrative going into every fight, and the narrative going into this fight was Patchy Mix is going to come in, and this is going to be his big splash in the UFC. It almost felt like, maybe not from the UFC's perspective, but certainly from fans, that you were almost expected to lose this one, dare I say.
Yeah, no, that was the narrative coming in for sure, you know. And I knew how good Patchy is, and we've seen him. He has a great record. You know, he's finished some great people, and has a pretty high finish rate. So I think people are. I think we're a little surprised not to see that go down, but I
Hmm.
mean, I wasn't.
How many times have you watched the fight back?
I watch it a few times, at least like once a day. I think since I've been just analyzing things and whatnot, and yeah, like I said, I was happy with the performance.
How much did the fight live up to your expectations? Did the 15 minutes in the cage play out as you and your team expected?
Yeah, it went as perfect as it could possibly go. You know, we avoided, grappling with that guy for 15 minutes straight. He couldn't even get a hold of me. So it went pretty perfect. You know, at the same time though, we were thinking, hey, this dude's probably going to be on our back during this fight. We got to be patient. Hey, no, don't shoot any lazy shots because he's going to get on that front headlock. Be ready to stuff. So that's something I was aware of the whole 15 minutes. I was focused.
Were you surprised by his game plan? I think he only went for one takedown in the third. You're talking about back control and things like that. Were you surprised there wasn't more of a offensive wrestling or grappling threat from him?
Yeah, especially in the later rounds.
Mm,
Especially in the third round, I thought he was going to shoot. I thought he was going to get desperate for shots, you know, because obviously he lost the first two rounds.
mm.
So I thought he was going to get a little bit more desperate. But I think just that footwork, you need someone to stay in front of you to take the shot, or you need to push them against the cage. And I didn't let my back touch that cage, not once in that fight. So yeah, he had nothing else. He could do nothing else.
Why do you think he never tried to wrestle? Do you think it was just a footwork thing from your side?
A footwork thing, and then also he's not the best wrestler. You know,
Mm.
he's not known for like getting good double leg shots, body lock takedowns, inside trips. You know, these are the type of guys I work with in my gym daily. You know, and he showed none of that. All he kind of relies on is that pressure, standing up pressure, getting you to the cage, and then kind of getting the shot and then wrapping you up. Either that or you commit fully to a long combination or whatever, and you guys wrap up that way. And yeah, there was none of that this fight. So yeah, I feel like he kind of got like exposed a little bit in his stand-up game.
Patchy talked a lot in the build-up. I think that one of the quotes was he could submit you and whoever teaches you jiu-jitsu, your jiu-jitsu coach. Feel nice to shut him up a little bit.
Yeah, no, I thought that was, I seen that comment during fight week, and I just laughed because my coach John Crouch just caught a straight bullet there for no
Mm.
reason. You know,
Yeah.
he's 60 years old. You know, so he's just like, what? So yeah, but even when he said that, I was like, yeah, there's no way. There's no way he runs through my whole crew. Like, there's people at my gym that would make him look silly. So yeah, he had to say whatever he had to say leading up to the fight to promote himself and the fight. So yeah, it is what it is.
But the bit that I don't like, and I'm sure you'll have seen this, is the pre-fight narrative was Patchy Mix is a champion from another organization. He's going to come in and do big things. And the post-fight narrative is the guys from the other organizations aren't very good. And I don't really like how things have changed and how you haven't been given the credit for beating, let's be honest, a top guy regardless of organization.
Yeah, Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like this, you get a great win over, this guy that was built up this whole week as a three-time world champion, this and that, and uh, and then you beat him, and then it's like, oh, he had an off night. Oh, these Bellator guys can't compete with the UFC guys. Like, yeah, it gets a little crazy, but I'm not gonna let that diminish my work or take away from me. I beat Patchy Mix, so a three-time world champion. He's done great things outside the UFC. He's beaten some great people, so they can't take that away from me, no matter how hard they try.
Is this a bigger win than the Jose Aldo one?
It could be, yeah, it
Mm.
could be. Aldo was probably a little bit older, kind of out of his prime and whatnot, and I know the fans weren't really happy with that one. So, but yeah, this one's definitely a bigger one. Patchy's in his prime. He's 31. He was on a 7 fight win streak. He's 20-1. So yeah, this was definitely my biggest win.
What was the crowd reaction and the fan interaction like both pre and post fight in Newark? Was it a more positive experience than post fight after Aldo? Because I know you took a lot of unnecessary flack for that one.
Yeah, no, during the before the fight, during press conference and whatnot. Oh yeah, I already mentally like visualized it going in, like, they're gonna be booing this and that.
Mm.
And that's exactly what happened. And then even heading out to the fight, they're booing. But then on the way out, it was a little bit more silence, a little bit more half and half. Um, and then definitely online, I feel like there's been a turnover for sure. I've been getting messages like, I I apologize, Mario. I sincerely apologize. Like, you know, uh, didn't like your win over Aldo, but respect, man. That was a great fight last night. Things like that.
The guys who've been apologizing, what did they say originally?
Well, there was only one that I read.
Oh,
He
okay.
he was all no. The guys that apologized never said anything before I checked the
Okay.
messages, but there was only one guy that was like, I read it, it popped up, and it's like, hey, congratulations on your fight. That was an amazing fight. And I clicked into it, and he had sent me previous messages like, oh, I can't believe you did that to Aldo. Go kill yourself. You suck, this and that. And then it was just a complete changeover. So yeah, it made me laugh. It's these fans are just, they jump on and off the bandwagon and stuff like that. So
They certainly do. You move up one position in the rankings, but this feels like a bigger victory than just beating a guy from outside the top 15, given the prestige. This feels like you're in a prime position to make a push for this top five and ultimately for a title shot in the near future.
yeah, I was a little bummed out that it only moved me up one spot. Um, but I think we all know the hardcore fans, that was a big victory for me. That was huge. So hopefully we get like a top five next because of it. Um, so that's something I'd like to see.
Feel nice to move above your old pal Henry Cejudo, because I know that you guys have crossed words once or twice.
Yeah, no, if anything, if I could take away from anything good about that is like I jumped over him, and so now I have that on him. I'm be like, I'm above you in the rankings, so I don't even know, you know, whatever interactions we have later on, I could use that against him.
Do you still have interest in rebooking the Chito Vera fight?
Yes and no. I like that fight, but at the same time, we were supposed to fight May. I feel like we were supposed to fight before May 3rd, to be honest, and it got kind of pushed back to May 3rd, and then we had to change a venue, so nothing that had to do with him really. And then I'm getting ready for him again for June 7th, and then he gets hurt. So those type of fight, those type of guys that kind of, get hurt or something happens or they're unreliable, it seems like it's hard to get back into another contract like that. So, if he's healthy and he can make it to the fight, I'd love it, but it's a risk, and I could have another fallout and then they'll throw someone else in there, but we'll see.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Were you guys not rumored to be fighting in February? Maybe like was it somewhere? I feel like it was somewhere maybe in Abu Dhabi or Seattle or somewhere like that. I think there was certainly rumors of a fight in February.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where, I forgot where it was supposed to be at. It was it was Kansas City,
That's right.
I believe. I believe it was Kansas City. And then like I think the next it was 3 weeks later, it was gonna be May 3rd or something, and
Mm.
Cheeto needed like a little bit more time because oh, we'll move it to May 3rd because he needs more time. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's only 3 weeks more, or whatever it was. and then the whole venue got changed, and then we got pushed back to June 7th. So yeah, we're supposed to fight, you know, I think yeah, April, something like that.
Mm.
And yeah, it never happened.
So as you survey the top 10, imagine, a genie gives you one wish and you can pick your next opponent. Obviously, let's make it realistic. Let's maybe not say Merab next, since he's obviously got a date with Corey Sandhagen.
Yeah.
But who do you think realistically makes sense next?
Um, we were thinking, I like the Umar fight. I like the Iggy fight or Iggy. I like the Figgy fight. I know he has like probably an injury, so I'm not sure when he's going to be back. Um, but I do like that Umar fight just because I know a win over him completely solidifies, you know, me in title contention. That's a huge win. That sets me to the very top. So I think a fight like that would do me good.
Do you feel like you're going to get a big push next? I mean, you've had the the legend, one of the greatest fighters to ever do it last October. You've had the new shiny toy in terms of the guy coming over from another organization with a world championship belt. Do you feel like this next fight, the UFC will give you a big push into where you want to get to?
I certainly hope so. I'm more than deserving at this point. I just
Mm.
beat Aldo. I beat Patchy. They had high hopes for. I'm on an 8 fight win streak, second longest active in this division, behind Merab, who's the champion, and the third in the history of the bantamweight division. So these are things that I'm setting unknowingly, to be honest. I'm just winning fights, and then I see
Mm.
like, oh dang, I'm kind of almost setting like records here. So um, yeah, I'm more than deserving for a top five, and I hope the UFC sees that and gives me that opportunity.
Talking about Merab, did you get a chance to watch the main event? Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, yeah, I watched it. I watched it a couple times. Once here at the hotel, once we got back,
Mm.
and then once here, in silence, I got to see it a little bit here.
Any surprise on your end how the rematch went?
A little bit, I was like really excited to see Sean, with this new mindset that he had coming in, and he looked in great shape. You know, he he looked great. Merab, looked good as he always does, But what definitely surprised me is the submission, because we don't really see submission attempts from Merab. You don't have to worry about that. You just have to worry about him grinding you out and getting you tired and just possibly just mauling you. But for him
Mm.
to add submissions to his game, that was a little different. And for him to catch Sean, that was pretty impressive because Sean's, can be hard to submit.
There's obviously a debate going around now, is he the greatest bantamweight in UFC history? Do you agree with that, or do you think the Dominick Cruz or TJ Dillashaw or somebody else still get your vote?
Yeah, you know what? I'm a little bit more old school, and I like Dominic Cruz. I thought he was a great champion. He had a great run from the WEC days, all the way until he fought, Cody. So
Mm.
yeah, I like Dominic. I like Dominic. I think he might be one of the greatest, and he paved the path for all the the smaller guys, with this
Yeah.
great style, and so yeah, I have Dominic being the greatest.
I can ask you this question now since you're a fight or two away from fighting for a belt, but I like to ask fighters when they're in the top 10 or the top five, if you were building a game plan, not necessarily around your style, but just in general, if you were building a game plan to defeat Merab, what do you feel like the keys somebody would need to put in place to have success?
You definitely number one on the list is you have to be in shape. You
Yeah.
have to be ready to go hard for 25 minutes, all the way through, So you have to do that. You have to be able to get up off, off the mat. You're going to get taken down. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You're going to get taken down, but you need to get up uh, as many times as you need to. And then you also need to create damage. You need to create, catch him coming in. Either you have some knees coming up the middle, something that will kind of deter him from taking shots. And if he does, make him pay for it. So that's kind of like the base I think that you need to have and work around that, whatever you need. But definitely number one on the list, you got to be in shape and you got to make him pay for those takedown attempts.
Do you think you'd need to finish him to beat him, or do you think he could be beat over 5 rounds? Because obviously the pace and the pressure late is kind of such a key part of his game.
Yeah. Well, if you could definitely match him cardio wise, uh, then I feel like someone like myself, if I can match him cardio for cardio, I feel like my skills are better than his, and then you could win a decision that way.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, but if you don't want to take that risk and find out, man, do I have the cardio to go with him? Then yeah, you need to, probably put him out or rock him a few times in certain rounds,
yeah.
and I definitely be easier that way for sure.
Last one from me. Thank you for your time. Um, how do you like to relax after a win? Is there a food of choice? Is there a drink of choice? Is there somebody or some people that you like to spend time with? Like, what is the Mario Batista post-fight celebration look like?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I like to hang out with family, and like this, past 3 weeks, we're looking up food spots, that we want to go to afterwards, like as a family. Okay, hey, after this fight, we're gonna go here. Let's do this for a dinner night here. Ooh, I really like this place. So those are the things that we kind of do, and planning some camping trips definitely over the
Nice.
summer. So things like that, just do all the fun stuff because I sacrificed a lot of time during this camp from my family. So now in this time, I like to really give back to them and really spend that time with them.
Camping spots is it Arizona you live in?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah.
Is that a good spot for camping?
Yeah, you have to go 2 hours north because I think this weekend, I think it said Monday, it's going to get to 115. So yeah, you definitely want to get out of the city. But yeah, we go up north. It's really nice up there, pine trees, kind of forest area. You can find some lakes up there, and it's definitely a lot cooler up there temperature wise. So yeah, we just got to make a little trip, but it'll be fun.
I'll have to put it on the list. Mario, thank you for your time. Always a pleasure catching up. Congratulations on the victory, and we look forward to seeing you back in the octagon soon.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks for having me.